my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, our good friend and patron Timothy's picked a movie that I've discussed it in the last episode. I really wanted to watch as a kid. It was a trailer that was always seemed to be on the VHSs that are rented out from the video shop. So we're going back to 1986, Dave, and it's Rutger Hauer in The Hitcher. So have you ever seen this before this week's episode, Dave?
No, to be honest, Chris, I wasn't sure. When we watched the trailer last week, I thought, well, this seems like something that I might have watched and I just don't remember. But no, as it was going on, I definitely hadn't seen it and was a bit surprised as well how fast it kind of got into it, you know, at the start. And so, yeah, watching it with completely fresh eyes. But I'm intrigued because, in fact, no, let me step back, Chris, because I am not just intrigued, I am intrigued.
Like a snake, Dave. I know
with my little snaky hand. I am literally doing that gesture here which doesn't work well on a podcast. But yeah, I am intrigued. Why did you not watch it? If you saw the trailer, lots and lots, it was obviously being promoted, spending lots of money on marketing, no doubt. How come you didn't watch it?
I don't know, because I think it would just seem like my type of movie. Every time I saw it, I was like, I need to see it. That Rutger Hauer guy, he looks horrible. And I remember the trailer, obviously, I've never seen, I'm going to say a movie that I'm probably going to pick. I've never seen Blade Runner, Dave, ever. I've seen clips of it. My cousin loved it. I always used to go on about it, but I've never, ever seen it. But I always found with this that he was just menacing. And from watching the trailer, I used to think he's like the ultimate bad guy. As a kid, I always believed he was like an absolute psychopath. So even as I got older, and you know, and rest in peace, he's not with us now, but any movie he was in, I always used to think, that's the fucking Hitcher. He's a psycho. You know, I don't know why. I had no context of what this Hitcher was about really, other than the trailer, that he was a maniac, you know, and he was a bit like basically a wanting killer, but I just couldn't work it out. So he was sort of typecast for me in any movie he was in, no matter whether he was playing a good guy, which is very rare. He usually was a baddie. It was always like, that's Rutger Hauer and he's that psychopath, the Hitcher, but just never picked it. I don't know whether because I used to say my choice of movies was martial arts. If I could get away with it, so it'd have to be a Van Damme film or it'd have to be something along them lines. But with this, I was really glad. It isn't on my list to ever pick. I don't think I ever would have picked it. But once I realised Timothy was going to go picked it and you said like this, I was like, oh, that ticks it off my box finally. So yeah, so I was very excited actually watching it, if I'm being honest, Dave, just to sort of tick it off. And also thinking, it's not a horror movie, is it? It's not one that I'm going to be putting the cushion up and shitting myself. So that's also maybe why I didn't watch it, but there you go.
Very good. I mean, to me, the first thing I saw him in was Blade Runner. And yeah, we do have to cover that at some point, but I don't know which of all the different various editions we would pick. But yeah, to me, I just associate him with Blade Runner. But you're right, menacing, I think, is the perfect word, isn't it? There is something about his screen presence and just perfectly cast. They were trying to cast, I think it was Sam Neill. Was it Sam Neill or
Sam Elliott?
Sam Elliott, that's the one. Sorry, very different. But yeah, obviously, I can't see anyone else in this role other than Rutger Hauer now. But before I give away too much, Chris, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
Heading west on the long, lonely highway, only his dreams for company. Until...
My mother told me never to do this.
Before many miles, he'll wish he'd taken his mom's advice. When Jim Halsey let the Hitcher into his car, he opened the doors of hell.
What do you want?
I want you to stop me.
Once you've met the Hitcher, you'll never pick up another.
My wallet's in my pocket. Shut up! We know how to do it. Jesus! Why are you doing this to me?
You're a smart kid. I'll figure it out.
I didn't do it. I didn't do any of it. I'm not a killer. Hold on! This morning, this guy tried to kill me, and he's been following me ever since.
Why didn't he kill us?
Hi, kid. I don't want to die! Yeah!
The terror starts the moment you stop for the Hitcher.
What do you want?
I want you to stop me.
Jim Halsey, a young man delivering a car from Chicago to San Diego, spots a man hitchhiking in the West Texas desert and gives him a ride. The hitchhiker, who calls himself John Ryder, forces Jim's leg down on the accelerator when they pass a stranded car. Ryder states he has murdered and dismembered the driver and intends to do the same to Jim, threatening him with a switchblade. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, it was interesting actually, Dave, because apparently Jimmy's delivering a brand new car, but driving it like he's being chased by the cops. You know, so I'm sort of thinking, in my head, I'm a lover of American muscle cars, and it's not really a muscle car. It's got the V8, and I'm thinking, I don't think the person he's delivering this car to is going to be very happy at all with the one. He's putting a load of miles on the car anyway. Obviously, putting from Chicago to California, Dave, has got to be at least 1,500, 2,000 miles. I'm pretty certain nobody's going to be happy about that delivery. Why isn't it on a low load? But anyway, we'll
I think that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this was a thing. Like you say, why don't you stick it on a lorry or something? But I actually just went with that completely. I was like, oh, this is a thing that happens. Like, you know, and you know, it's all of that was believable for me. So, you know, you're going to hire someone who's a bit younger because you can get them for cheaper, and are they going to fucking drive this like Miss Daisy? Well, no, they're going to rag the arse off it, aren't they? So actually, it's interesting you put it like that, but for that bit, I just completely went with it.
Well, it stupidly, me being a car thing, yeah, probably it's weird in how you think differently watching these things. But anyway, straight into it. Rutger Hauer's there, you know, the Hitcher. He gets in and he's pissing it down in it, and you've got this really good setting of like, it's just, you know, he's very. I mean, you used to see hitchhikers a lot, didn't you? When we were kids, you would see them, but I think even as a kid, I'd be like, why would you let some random person get into your fucking car? And, you know, truckers used to do it a lot, didn't they? They'd pull over. You can't pull over at motorways, but you'd always get the hitchhikers and everything. And I think this probably put a lot of people off picking somebody up, Dave, because I'm pretty certain that you'd have been like, fuck that. This guy could be a psychopath. But it's the way I love Rutger Hauer's delivery, you know. John Ryder, and he gets in and he's like, yeah, and he's dead cool about it, and he's like, yeah, I've chopped his legs off and that, and he's like,
yeah,
what the hell? But then they start laughing together, and he's like, oh, yeah, it's really funny, and it's not funny, and I think this. So we haven't covered it, and it is on my list at some point to do Duel, the Stephen King one, where you've got the guy in the car, the salesman, you've got the truck, and it is the man in the truck. You never see his face; you just know it's a truck that just appears from nowhere. But I do think that this is a take on that, and it's also like a bit of a horror movie. It's almost like is fucking Mike Myers as well, because some of the physics that happen in this movie make no sense. But the one thing I will give a credit to, Rutger Hauer did pretty much all his own stunt driving, Dave. Said apparently the director and the stunt people couldn't believe how good he was. He was excellent. So a lot of the stunts in the cars and that are him doing it, and some of the gun scenes, he chipped a tooth, I believe, and all that in one of them with a shotgun. But I think he plays a brilliant character, this John Ryder. I think he's an absolute psychopath. And from the get-go, I'm not a big fan of Jim anyway. And I'm always like, oh, fuck it, just kill Jim anyway. He's a fucking bellend, so just take him out.
The bloodbath, all of the other people who get slaughtered probably agree with you. It's just like, just fucking kill him and stop this maniac with you. But yeah, I love the beginning, honestly. I just think this is a short story. This is a cautionary tale. Apparently, it was like part of the inspiration was the Doors song "Riders of the Storm," but I reckon this probably did for hitchhikers what Jaws did for sharks. In terms of like you say, it'd put a lot of people off, I imagine. But I think it's just a cautionary tale. That's all it is. It's to kind of scare people about picking up hitchhikers, because I think the opening scene, you could see that the end of the short story is just they're going past that car, and it's the, like you say, it's the delivery is saying, I cut off his legs and his arms and his head, and you're like, oh. Well, he's just driving, and you can sort of see him reacting to it, and old Jim there, and so I'd love that delivery. And maybe the end of the short story is he gets killed, or he kind of escapes or whatever, but then that's it. Because talk about resourceful, I mean, even Mike Myers, he was like relentless, wasn't he, in everything, but he wasn't as resourceful where he could find his own and fly his own helicopter and stuff. But yeah, so I love that opening dialogue, and then when they're get into the roadworks, and he's got the bloody switchblade right by his knob. he's like, don't say anything. He's like, yeah. You're thinking, oh fuck, what would you do? I don't know about you, but I always put myself in that position. I'm thinking, oh shit, what would you do? And I'm thinking, I can't fucking wait. This is going to be a short movie. But then when he and again when he was opening the door as if he's going to get out, and he just closes it again, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that. Again, just it adds to the tension. But then the tension's kind of ruined a little bit for me, because, again, like you say, the physics of it, somehow, because he's trying to get Jim to say, isn't he, I want to die, and he's like, I can't say it, and then he just pushes him. He's in the driver's seat. He pushes a human grown male out of the passenger seat, out of the door, and he's like, I don't want to die. And I'm just like, how did that happen? How did that work? I can kind of go for it for the story, but it just looked weird for me, and it was a bit cheap to get him out of the car in that way. And then obviously Jim's setting off, isn't he? He's happy as Larry. He's thinks he's got away with it all. But then again, it happens very quickly. I mean, Jim is ragging the arse off this thing, but somehow, John Ryder manages to dust himself off. It looks like he's been a bit unconscious or something. So he's been passed out. Jim speeding away. Getting miles and miles away as every minute passes, and somehow John picks up another ride, and then gets in with a family who's probably driving like Clark Griswold. And then he's just in the back, and somehow they are in front of Jim.
Yes,
I'm like, again, my mind is slightly blown. It's like, what has happened here? I don't understand it. And again, it's this Mike Myers thing where he's just casually sauntering along, isn't it? But he's always there. He's always caught up with someone who's sprinting for their lives. So yeah, I don't know if you picked up on that, but again, I think I kind of I love lots about this, the tension. I think Rutger Hauer's performance is outstanding. And C. Thomas Howell, he does a decent job in kind of conveying how scared he is and stuff. But yeah, the actual events and stuff, I just kind of had to let go of them because ultimately they were a bit of nonsense.
Well, you got me there because I was going to bring that up. Is when he gets with the family, right? And this hitchhiker's picked up. He's sat in the back with a young girl who's got like a pretend Tommy gun, hasn't she, machine gun, and all that, and he's laughing away and all that. Why would you let your kid sit next to a random bloke? He's there cuddling her, kissing her on the head, isn't he? Like he's her uncle or whatever, Dave. But he's acting like he knows them, and the family like, yeah. And he's going, no, and then, like you say, but they're not driving like Clark Griswold, Dave. They're driving like it's Smoking the Bandit or the Cannonball Run. So to get in front
Maybe they
of
got some moonshine in the boot.
I'm telling you, they thought stroke a race. Maybe, I don't know. Even that's a stretch. But they're driving like fucking about 200 miles an hour because the context of the movie, like you say, when he kicks him out the car from nowhere, he gets this like set of bollocks done and boots him out and all that. But it doesn't make any sense, does it? The physics have just gone. But then what they were saying is in some of the, I didn't realize this, but in some of like the lore of it, as such, there's a little subtle thing that he's not actually human, if that makes sense. Like he's got that like horror movie element that no matter where he is, he pops up. Because throughout the movie, there's a lot of unexplainable physics and time traveling almost, because if he's going in a straight line, Jim, there is no way that John Ryder would catch him, because when he falls out, you're relying on another car picking him up. But yet for the first half hour of the movie, there's been about 3 cars on this whole highway that they're driving. So the chances of just a random car picking him up and as he's stopping, he's catching him up, doesn't make any sense, does it? However, take that out of it, I think this is a brilliant movie, and I'm so gutted, really, that it don't make sense, but I'm gutted that I've never seen it before, because I think Rutger Hauer's brilliant in it, Dave. It's a proper horror movie with that like Mike Myers feel of like bullshit that he can catch him. But if you take that out of it, I think it's great. I think the suspense of it, the character of John Ryder is excellent, honestly. And yeah, I'm just gutted I've not seen it first time round. It's nearly 40 years now. I'm watching it for the first time, and I think it still holds up. I think it really does hold up.
Yeah, can you imagine watching this in 86 or 87 or something? I mean, you would never even fucking consider picking up a hitchhiker in your life. You just never do it. And I mean, here's a theory though for you, Chris, and I didn't come into this pod thinking this, but just as we're talking here, what if it's a whole Fight Club thing? Because you're right. I mean, it's utterly nonsense, and it doesn't explain the helicopter and stuff. But what if it's that? What if it's a Fight Club thing? And actually, John Ryder is Jim. That is the only way you could explain the catching the whole cat and mouse thing.
You've ruined it for me. That's exactly what I thought. No, it's like we were telepathically. Honestly, I'm not just saying.
Is that where you were going?
I swear to God, about halfway through the movie, when the cops were after him, and like he was being set up by Ryder, and it was like everything points to Jim, doesn't it? Like the cops are there, they're chasing him, all this. And in my head, I swear to you, Dave, I was thinking, is he a figment of his imagination and he's a fucking psycho? And at the end, it's going to be revealed that none of it was, it was all fake and everything. But no, honestly, there is a moment in the movie where that did cross my mind. I'm so glad you picked up on that. But yes, it could have been that John Ryder was Jim, his alter ego sort of thing. So great, Dave. I'm so mad that you're saying the same things as me, thinking it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, though, I mean, for me, that explains away some of the nonsense, and so I prefer to think of it that way, that it is a bit of a Fight Club thing. And so all of the coincidences and the fact that he is this Mike Myers character, the fact that the police are so hell-bent, again, it's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? Because the police do actually have them both in custody and interviewing them separately. But we can get past that, I think. But yeah, yeah, bringing it back to the performances, and I think there's lots of interesting shots as well. You know, the way. Sometimes Jim, when he's just stood there and, he's very, very small on the screen and you can see this huge desert landscape behind him. I thought there's lots of interesting shots like that that really stood out to me. And I think the music is great and Rutger Hauer's performance as well. It's just that thing of the nonsense coincidences, but everything else apart from that. And like I say, the Fight Club thing gives a little bit of an out. So yeah, for me at least, it might be utter bullshit, but if I think of it that way, it makes it better.
It does, and I think as well, I didn't twig it was her, but Jennifer Jason Leigh's in this as well, isn't she? She's the diner girl.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest with you, Dave. I did, and you're saying about different shots. So whenever you watch a movie and there's food in it and all that, it's very rare you get the steam that it's actually been cooked. But we get this whole thing where she's as fucking daft as Jim, because this guy comes through a door. He's got covered in mud and blood and shit, and he's like, I need to ring, and he's ring, and she just lets him in, doesn't she? And she starts cooking him like, it looks like sweet potato fries, and he's got this burger which looks rather nice. But what's really good is, again, you've got that dual what Mike Myers feel of, he starts eating the burger after he's had a shower. Jamie's all, so obviously probably half an hour, 45 minutes has passed. So we're supposed to believe in that time there's a fucking severed finger in the burgers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? What is going on? However, what I didn't really twig is on Ryder's finger, he's got 2 wedding rings, right, Dave, on. And I saw it briefly. I didn't think anything of it, but you've probably read it yourself, but in like the info and the trivia, apparently it was supposed to signify the fact that when he cut the finger off with his victims, he'd take the wedding rings off them and wear the wedding rings as like a trophy. And I'd never picked up on that. And that's one of the reasons why the finger's supposed to be in the finger. But I did see the 2 wedding rings. I thought that was a bit weird. They had a wedding ring on, but that's what it's supposed to be from his, all little subtle hints from like the director and that, like about this character. But again, we'd had the gas scene just before this, and then he ends up in the gas station, sorry, as he blows up. But he ends up in the nick, doesn't he, then, with the police and everything. And the police don't believe him because John Ryder, like you were saying, this is when I was genuinely thinking he's a figment of his imagination. He's not real, but still doesn't explain how he gets into the police station, John Ryder, after this point when you realise he is real, and takes out everyone with no noise or anything, does it? Even though Jim has a bit of a kip, it's bizarre. It is like a horror. He slept through the whole thing, and people are being fucking slashed across the neck. The mutilated. We've got a fucking Alsatian fucking eating one of the police dogs, and he's not heard a thing. So again, it's almost like that Walking Dead bullshit. Like, I checked out The Walking Dead in series 2 because it'd be like, right, guys, we need some petrol, or we need some food and that. I'm just going to go into town, and they'd be at a town somewhere, and they go in a house and there'd be nobody about, and then they'd open the cellar and there'd be 50 fucking zombies in the cellar who'd go, and you've not heard them at all as you've been raiding a convenience store and there's a lot of zombies behind the door. And I was like, oh, I am out of this bullshit. It's absolute nonsense. And that's what this is a bit like. It's sort of like there's no sound whatsoever until Jim discovers them, and then it goes really loud and kicks in. So there is that little bit of element to it, but it doesn't distract from the fact that I'm enjoying the movie at all.
Yeah, I mean, it does get more and more of a leap, doesn't it? So, you can sort of forgive. It's not that much of a crime to think, oh, well, maybe Jim pulled over, had a kip, and that's how the family got in front of him. But then, I mean, when he gets in front of the family, maybe I'm misremembering, but how did the family get so far in front of him again, really?
Yeah.
It's just a bit weird. But he discovers, they've all been slaughtered. And like you say, I'm like, okay, let's just park that. That's okay. But then, like you say, he relies on Nash, opening up, cooking him something up. But somehow, John Ryder has predicted all of this. He's snuck in somehow. He's put into the burger the finger. You know, I don't know how it's sort of done there. It's like it's such a leap. So he bites the finger, and yeah, obviously. And if I was watching a kid, I'd have just been shit scared. I'd been like, "Fucking hell, he's relentless," you know, and like you just go with it. But obviously, you're a bit older, and you're sort of thinking, "But how? How did he do that?" And the whole taking out. I mean, Christ, the T100 did not take him out that quietly and efficiently, you know. So he is more deadly. He's like a Michael Myers T. It's not T100, is it? T800. The
Yeah.
Arnie model. It's a T1000.
T800. T800's Arnie.
T800's the next one,
Robert
isn't it? That's
Patrick,
from
yeah.
T2, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, the T800. So, you know, he was all loud and not as efficient. So this guy is basically all of the things from Michael Myers and the T800, and you know, it's just a bit of nonsense. However, parking that when they are in the diner, and he does a finger, and again, I'm thinking, how the fuck did I get there? When he's sat across the table, and he's got the gun, hasn't he, Jim?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's sort of pointing it to him. And Rutger Hauer, it's not as if he's cool as a cucumber, because he does look a bit bedraggled and sweaty, doesn't he? But that stare, those blue eyes, fucking hell, it sends chills through the bone, doesn't it? And again, that's why I can't see anyone else doing this role. I'm sure they could in a parallel universe if someone else had have done it. I'm sure there's other great actors who could have been as menacing, but the admiration for Rutger Hauer's performance in this movie is just it makes it for me. And then just the fact that he just has a little look down, it's like, yeah, there's no bullets in there. And then you're like, shit. And so then he's got his finger, hasn't he? He's pretending he's got a finger gun. And he's like, bang. And then you can just hear the gun going. And Jim's just like, he's lost it then, hasn't he? He's just trying to pull the trigger as many times as he can, but there's nothing there. And you're like, oh, mate, you're fucked. You know? So it's that torture. It's that constant, like, feeling that you're going to be killed. And the fact that John Ryder is just playing with him. It's like a cat playing with a mouse or something. Not in Tom and Jerry, but, you know, in real life, and, you know, just not just killing it and eating it. It's just, it's, I mean, the fact that someone would go to this much trouble, again, is another, I'll stick in this is a massive leap thing. But yeah, that was another great scene for me in the diner.
It is, because if you remember, Ryder gives him bullets as well, doesn't he, and fucks off, and you sort of like thinking, why is he just not taking him out? And then you've got the whole thing with the police, haven't you, where they pull him over, and then Ryder from nowhere just pulls up next to him and fucking kills him. And then I'm like, well, is he trying to recruit Jim? What the fuck's going on here? He's had like plenty of opportunity to kill him, hasn't he? You know, and like, it's almost like he likes him, if that makes sense. You know, like, I've not got any friends. Would you be my friend after I've killed all these people and give you PTSD for the rest of your life? It's weird, but I do like the fact, like, when the helicopter gets taken down, and then when they finally get sort of get Ryder, you sort of know, don't you? It's like, he's not fucking going to end up staying with the police. You know, he's getting away. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just like, you know, but to be fair, at this point, Jimmy's like, I've got to fucking kill him, man. I have got to get in. He's just going to keep coming back. And what's bizarre is, with the movie, like you said, I think you're absolutely right about being a short story. There's no, like, you know, in these movies, if you've got something like that, what I, in my head would, and I don't think ruins the movie, but it would have been something like, Jim's in a diner, he's just picked the car up, and on the news is a report of some fucking some wanting killer who's escaped prison, you know, be on the lookout. Not have to show his face, but just to say, yeah, he's on this highway, and someone in the diner has a bit of a joke with Jim, and the next minute, there's fucking guys there like, can I have a lift? You know, and so, but there isn't, is there? I like, there's two ways it could have gone. I think they do a great job in it, but there could have been a little bit of ground laying, table laying basically to get to that point. But I also think that, like Jennifer Jason Leigh, thinking she's not going to die. She's not going to die. And he fucking kills her, doesn't he? And it was like, holy shit. Like, I know she doesn't get in it till halfway through pretty much, but you're sort of thinking, it's Jim's love interest here. We're going to get this, like, he's going to go after her now and Jim's got to save the day. But no, see you later. You're dead.
That was gruesome, that, wasn't it? I mean, just the thing on the short story as well. Do you remember those infamous, they didn't call them infomercials, like the public safety commercials that you used to get? Don't pick up fireworks.
Yes.
Don't climb on pylons and stuff like that. It was just these public safety things. You don't get them anymore, do you? I don't know why it was a thing. Were we just, what it probably is, Chris? We used to like go out and stuff and just play and parents would just see us for tea or something. I guess life's not like that they need those things now. But yeah, it just makes me think of that. And the basic, they're sat around the conference room and they're sort of saying, oh yeah, well, we should actually make a movie of this. What is the message? Well, the message is we don't want to pick up hitchhikers. Okay, so we need to come up with a cautionary tale of, a hitchhiker. So, picks up a hitchhiker, turns out he's killed someone else, and then, person escapes with their life, or they get killed or whatever. Job done. That's our, 2-minute public safety warning. That's it. That's the start, middle, and end. And someone's like, yeah, but if we stretch it out for a movie, we can really ram home the message to not pick up hitchhikers. And it does continually get worse. And I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't expecting the thing with Nash. I mean, even just rewinding back to before she gets killed. It's this sort of trope thing, isn't it? So somehow the universe really does revolve around Jim. Because, not only does she let him into the diner and cook him up something when he looks like someone you shouldn't really trust, but when the cops try and get him, she's literally got a gun, shooting a gun in the air. She's like, no, don't leave him alone, because she trusts him so much. She's literally shooting a gun to threaten cops. Based on this guy that she's known for 5 minutes. And it's like, oh, come on. But yeah, it just got another bit of nonsense. But then when he's in the shower and she's asleep and the camera pans across and you see John stood right there again, another iconic shot. Like, oh, shit. But I didn't expect what was coming next. And apparently she did all of her own stunts. So, she was actually there, and apparently it was quite traumatic for her. But, again, what did you think of the cop's role in that, though, Chris? Because Jim's trying to get there, and he's like, no, stop, no, because if we shoot him, like, his foot's going to come off the clutch, innit? It's like, okay, well, how about fucking do something?
Yeah, which he does anyway. His fucking foot does come off the clutch. The cops are useless in this again, aren't they? In all these movies we watch, unless it's centered on a policeman or a policewoman and it's like a day in the life or whatever, cops are useless, aren't they? They're like, you watch these movies and like Jim is nothing, isn't he? He's just a delivery driver. He's got more fucking police nous about him by the end of the movie. I know what's going on. The cops are just stood there like they're dope. It's like watching Ross go off Dukes of Hazzard, like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, guys. And they always portray him, don't they? I know they're not eating donuts and that, but like Al out of Die Hard, Al Powell and all that. And it's like, it's like they become cops, but in the movies, they are literally nothing, are they? They're just someone in a uniform. They're like an extra. Yeah, they're just absolutely useless throughout this movie. All the police are. But yeah, the logic of he'll take his foot off the clutch. Well, no shit, Sherlock. He does that anyway because he fucking kills her. So yeah, there's some very unusual bits in the movie. But I think, like what we've both touched on, I think because Rutger Hauer is so good, you were always sat there like sort of sweaty. I had like sweaty palms at one point. Like they really does keep that like thriller tension to the movie about what's going to happen. How are they going to basically kill Ryder? Because ultimately he's not going to walk off and he's going to be, unless there was a second one, but he's not going to come out of this good. Well, I know there was like an offshoot, wasn't there? But he's sort of like, his character is not redeemable at all, is he? He's just a psychopath and a very good one as well. And I don't think this movie gets the props it deserves in the 80s, Dave. You know what I mean? I remember it. But it's a Cannon movie as well, isn't it? So it would have been lower budget Cannon one. But yeah, I just think it's excellent. And I think like when Jim, ultimately sort of has the face off, doesn't he? And he's like, I'm going to, take him out. Jim now, Dave, is now like Rambo, and his use of weapons, his accuracy is unbelievable. That bit of like adrenaline kicks in, and he goes from like a nobody to fucking somebody who could give Martin Riggs a fucking run for his money with weapons and that. So all unbelievable. But I do think the ending, there's a good payoff as well at the ending.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of satisfying again, slightly ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we've probably covered other movies, haven't we? Where what was it? The Steven Seagal one, where Elena
Under Siege too.
Elena,
yeah, Under Siege.
Elena, where she's basically a stripper, but suddenly is a part of the Navy SEALs team or something.
She had the best gun. I said it at the time. Remember it now. She's got the AR, the assault rifle, and they've all got like a submachine gun sort of thing. Which I'm not saying you couldn't kill someone, but she's got the most difficult gun probably to use. And they give her the gun. You go, there, have a go with this. Then you had your fucking knockers out in the last scene, but now we know that you definitely can someone who can take everyone out. It's fucking nonsense, isn't it? Seagal. Seagal was like, can you just come in my dressing room? We'll have a chat. Yeah, fucking bet we are. I keyed on my bollocks. Yeah. Tosser he is. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah. But, I mean, leading up to that again, Jim's like had enough, hasn't he? He's sort of... he's holding up the cops and everything. It's funny you mentioned about The Walking Dead, actually, because Jeffrey DeMunn I recognised. He was playing one of the captains, and he was in The Walking Dead. So obviously he's a lot older in that, but there is actually a connection to The Walking Dead there.
I didn't mean to give us that little link, Dave, but there you go. But no, honestly, I think it's satisfying the end, and I think the shot of him having the cig as the sun sets is very clever. And also, the poor family who were getting the brand new car, it'd already been decimated by the fucking bus. They're getting no car, so they've lost as well.
Hang about. I don't know what the actual death count is on this film, but I think the minor inconvenience of your car being a bit totaled, they can claim on the insurance, which fair dues, that is a little bit of time, bit of an inconvenience. I think all the other people have got more justification to be a bit upset.
Well, yeah, they're not here, are they? But there you go.
Well, their families then.
Possibly, yeah. So should we get into our score, Dave?
Let's go.
So yeah, what a great pick, Timothy. Like, really pleased that we've gone through this one. As you can tell, I'm not doing my usual, it's not John Hammond levels. John, if you're listening, if it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Fuck me. Unbelievable. But it really was a good movie. And I'm definitely probably would watch this again. Honestly, I would. I thought it's cracking movie. It's 1 hour 37. That proper 90-minute-ish sweet spot for this sort of movie, and it's straight into it. Whether I want that little bit of table setting at the start or not, it doesn't matter. John Ryder's an absolute psychopath. He's just basically Mike Myers with lovely blonde hair and blue eyes, Dave. You know what I mean? Good looking bloke, Rutger Hauer in the 80s, without a doubt. And yeah, he plays it to a T. And the little subtle things when you're doing the trivia, like reading up about it and everything afterwards, I really enjoyed it. So it isn't going in the middle, Dave. I usually do it. I think we're going to send this one to Pleasantville. I think it's a great movie. Really enjoyed it, and a really great pick. So what about yourself?
Awesome. As you were talking there, I was thinking back. I can't remember which movie it was for Blake we did. But we talked it up all the way through and talked positively about it. And then we're like, yeah, it's in the middle. It's a hill valley.
Yeah, it was fuming.
He's that happy. He's like probably shaking his fist at his podcast player. Like, damn you bastards. You fucking did me there. So I'm glad you sent it to a Pleasantville, because I am not going to be quite the same. So as we've been talking about it, and I've talked about the things that I thought were brilliant, I think for me, the Rutger Hauer performance is the thing that I think of with this movie now. So menacing, just perfectly cast for the role. But, he's not phoning it in at all. Brilliant performance. I've talked about some of the cinematography being great. I thought the music was good as well. And the whole Fight Club thing, that the angle might have me reconsider in the future. But the nonsense leaps, I just can't let go of them. There are so many, and they kind of get worse as it goes on. I mean, this makes Michael Myers look plausible. So that is the thing that is just rooting me in a hill valley for the moment. Now, what I would say is, I do need to digest the Fight Club theory, and I might even do a bit of research to see, okay, have other people thought this way, or, is there a Reddit thread or something like that? This is one that I'll stick a pin in. I might reconsider it. I might actually watch it again with that through those lenses, and I might nudge it up to a Pleasantville. But yeah, for me, I came into this thinking it was a hill valley. It has blown my mind a bit just to think of it in that way. But I'm going to stick to my guns and put it in the middle to start.
Good stuff. So, Dave, it's my pick. Finally, do I stitch you up? What do I do? I've been sat there looking at my list, the long, extensive VHS list that I have, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I go down the route of martial arts? We've been there and done that, so I'm not going to do that to you, Dave. But it will be, and this is so strange how this happens with the podcast, and we do this unintentionally. This will be the second movie that stars Jennifer Jason Leigh, Dave, in the space of 2 weeks. However, it's also the second movie that stars the great Fred Ward, Dave, who was Remo Williams, my friend.
Oh, God.
So we're going back to 1990 officially, even though it was made in 89. But its main star is Mr. Alec Baldwin, Dave. Now, I had this on VHS and I had the poster on my wall because it was one of them ex-rentals you could buy for a couple of quid, and I bought it. I had to get probably my granddad or someone or my mum to buy it because it was an 18. However, this one, Dave, is a black neo-noir comedy, and this one is Miami Blues. So all I'll say to you, Dave, is let's get into the trailer.
Coming in October from Orion Home Video.
Orion,
yeah.
With a comic edge.
I've had this in my back pocket for ages.
Miami Blues.
I'd like to tell you about a book.
I've heard of it.
It's a classic of the Vedic literature.
Yeah.
The knowledge of God.
Guess who just blew into town?
My name's Ravindra. What's your name?
He's a good-looking bloke back in the day, when he's, to be fair.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to know who he really is.
Frederick J. Fringer. You call me Junior. Sergeant Hope Mosley, homicide. Herman Gottlieb.
Or what he does.
I was an aerobics instructor. Oh, I'm a cop. I used to
How
rob
many hairstyles has he got in this?
I like Robin Hood.
Except I didn't give
Good
the money
looking
to the
bloke.
poor people.
In
Yeah.
my brother
Exactly
Billy Baldwin.
whose side he's on.
That's my prayer! Stop him! Stop! Somebody please help me!
Go get him!
He's not the most iconic Baldwin, though, is he?
Yeah, it's great, lady.
No.
You're a cop!
That's
Business
reserved for
seems
Mike
to be
Baldwin,
good.
surely.
The legend.
Of course, there's always room for improvement.
Price check. Uzi squirt gun. Disregard.
If he could only shake the damn law.
He's got my old bad Sanchez. He's running around playing cop, assaulting and beating people.
Or become it.
Police raid! Everybody freeze!
You ain't no cop.
Remain silent.
Miami Blues.
I can't tell if this is a comedy, Chris. Is this serious, or
Real
is
bad.
it supposed to be a comedy?
Real gun. Fake cop.
Wait till you watch it. I don't know. I absolutely loved it. I'm watching the trailer going, have I done myself again? But anyway. What the fuck have I done?
Me Maybe you should have watched the trailer before, but
maybe. But to be fair, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 85%. So
wow.
it is a classic comedy. It's one of them. Obviously, Alec Baldwin's had loads of movies and TV shows, but this is one of them ones that goes under the radar. A bit like Nicolas Cage when we watched Red Rock West.
Yeah.
So it's in the vein of Red Rock West. It is a comedy, but I would say it's more violent comedy, if more than anything. And I haven't seen this for about 25 years, so whatever we walk into, Dave, it could be a disaster. But there you go. So yes, so I thought I've had it for ages, and I'm like, I don't know whether to throw it in there. And I'm like, no, now is the time to put it in there, and I've got to watch it again.
I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I did like things like the Red Rock West. I like it when you kind of uncover these little gems, and when some of our supporters call these things out that you think, how have I not watched that? And it actually turns out to be great. So let's see. Very on the fence though after that bloody trailer. So let's see.
You're on the fence. Oh, you fucking stitched me up the week after now as well. I'll be like, stitch me up now.
You know what? I'm sure the last time you stitched me up, I picked a really good movie after.
You did, to be fair.
Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for confirming what I thought. Yeah, that's not going to happen again.
Anyway, moving on. A big thank you to everyone. A massive thank you to me for picking that one. I'm hoping, Dave, that this Miami Blues, I cannot see there be a lot of people who've seen this who listen to the podcast. I'm hoping that maybe I've pulled it out the bag and there'll be a lot of people saying, I've never seen that. So let's see. I mean, maybe they'll come back. I'm sure John Hammond may have seen it because he is the man. He seems to watch more movies than anybody, doesn't he? So he has a proper widespread and maybe Spider-Man, but we'll see. I'd love to know what people think. But if you do want to support us, get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back @gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHS Strikes Back. So a massive thank you to our patrons, as always, past and present. We do appreciate all your support. So a big thank you to John, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Stephen, Trent, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Ken, Looking at the Green, Herbs, Jax, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support for the podcast. We really, really appreciate it. And you know what, Dave? I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to actually have to watch this today. I can't wait for you to say, Chris, you're a dick. I'm going to get you back next week. But there you go.
Let's see. So Chris, obviously, wouldn't be the end of the episode if I didn't play a little tune. Now, this one, I think, I'm trying to think now. Was it the Beatles I thought last week with the courtship of Eddie's father? Thought, we're in the 80s. Thought go for a bit of Depeche Mode. Like a Depeche Mode type feel. So here we go.
On the highway of shadows, where danger lies.
Dave Garner, brilliant.
Running from the fear in his cold, dark eyes. On the highway of shadows,
it's definitely Depeche Mode.
No place to hide. Just a battle for survival on this deadly ride.
It didn't really feel as silly when I was putting this together.
On a desert road beneath the moonlit sky, a lone hitchhiker with a deadly eye, caught in the web of a stranger's smile. No turning back, just mile after mile. On the highway of shadows, where danger lies, running from the fear in his cold, dark eyes. On the highway of shadows, no place to hide, just a battle for survival on this deadly ride.
You're not into
the 80s stuff, but this has been a little bit of an earworm for me.
Yeah, it's good this again.
In the rearview mirror, see the haunting face. A cat and mouse game in this desolate place. Every mile a trial, every corner a test. Facing the terror, never finding rest. On the highway of shadows, where danger lies.
Hey, you've had some good praise on your song, babe, as well.
Yeah, all Devil's Beaters went that well with it.
On the highway of shadows, no place
Just to imagine the video. I'm in front of my keyboard now, doing that thing where I'm, or maybe a guitar, Chris. I've got to have the shades on. Imagine some neon going in the background as well.
Yeah, like cyberpunk type thing. Yeah.
A fight for freedom, caught in the fright, twisted roads and twisted minds. A chilling story, fear entwined.
It's when you say you're not doing the podcast anymore because you retired from all royalties of your song.
Where danger lies.
How did you capture this, Dave?
Running from
It is.
the fear in
It's been unedited.
dark eyes. On the highway of shadows, no place to hide. Just a battle for survival on this deadly ride. On the highway of shadows, forever they'll roam. In the echoes of the desert,
I just feel like a Depeche Mode album
in the
song.
dark unknown. A tale of horror, of life and death's decree. On the highway of shadows, forever free.
Very good. I'm clapping, actually. You're fucking getting really good at these. Now, I'm going to make a statement now, and this is one of those statements where you are going to hold me accountable for a change.
Are you going to eventually send me this song through? You've
I'm
been working
gonna-
for 3 months.
No, listen. I am going to, because I've got to do all me, because we've come back off holiday. I'm doing all my video editing for my vlogs and stuff on YouTube. So I will be doing that today. However, I will be at my desk because I tried to get this song going on my phone and it sounds terrible. And I'm going to create the song. I'm going to write the lyrics out first because I know the mistake I made last time because I was trying to freewheel it as only Chris Phelps will do and blag it. But I will put the song together and I want to unveil it next week. And you won't even hear
Nice.
it until next week.
Awesome.
So hold me accountable, Dave.
Okay, and if you deliver on it, we need to talk about Hit Monkey. But yeah. So honestly, I didn't think you'd enjoy it. Actually, I don't think you like you gravitate more to the '90s stuff, don't you? Much more into the indie and that. But I can't remember if I told you. I'll come back to the Depeche Mode stuff. I think with this one, I think sometimes if you've got like a repetitive chorus, and it's just sometimes you want to dial up the verse and you want the story to pop out a bit. But yeah, this one was getting in my head, and so just lots and lots of choruses. But yeah, I've seen Depeche Mode twice in the last sort of 10 years or so, and it was a friend at work. And I found out, apparently, Chris, these Depeche Mode fans are big, big fans. I had no idea because I was like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said, oh, got a spare ticket and whatever. Do you want to come along? And I'm like, all right, okay, yeah. I remember them. I was working in a waitress at a cocktail bar. And they were like, that's Human League.
That's Human League, that day. Even I was going, yeah, that went down well with him, didn't it?
Yeah, no, didn't like that. But yeah, I was like, oh, fucking hell, I don't even know. I know Just Can't Get Enough, that's probably it. But actually, I was forgetting all the other shit that I did know. But I kind of blasted through the albums, went to that first gig, and then went to another one a few years later. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Depeche Mode fan. I have to say.
Well, there's a bit of a Depeche Mode segue. Is that when I was left school and I worked with my cousin for 4 months, printing day, he used to have to pick me up, and all we played every day was Depeche Mode. So Personal Jesus, my favourite one is I Feel, which is proper guitar-driven one with Lisette Anthony in it, who was also in Alvidi's Aim Pet, who's absolute chef's kiss when she was younger. But yeah, my mate of mine I've got on Facebook, he runs one of the Depeche Mode fan groups and goes all over watching them. So I see plenty of Depeche Mode on my Facebook timeline. My mate goes everywhere to watch them. So yes, I have a bit of a soft spot for him, Dave, but I wouldn't say that I've got them on rotation. However, if they do come on, I will play them through. I know all of them, Reach Out, Touch Faith and all that, because I used to have it on all the time in my cousin's car, full blast, subwoofer in the back. He was 20, I was 16, thinking we were like fucking, we were going to pull every girl possible, Dave, and they're probably like, you fucking cocks, Depeche Mode. But anyway, so I'm fully versed in the DM fan base and the songs.
Very good. I mean, there's a lot of really good album stuff, but I think Enjoy the Silence, if you're talking about that classic kind of earworm, I think really, really great song. But anyway, Chris, amazing stuff, and really enjoyed talking through this one. Thanks to Timothy for picking it. It was great to watch, to be fair. And obviously, thanks to all our listeners, thanks to all our supporters out there, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's annoying.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off. One ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid. Yeah, maybe you crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.
I must break you.